What does the Bible really say about little things? Zechariah 4 verse 10. Who dares despise the day of small things? Since the 7 eyes of the Lord that reigns throughout the earth will rejoice when they see the chosen capstone in the hand of Zerubbabel. There's a mindset that is very common in modern life, the habit of undervaluing small beginnings. We live in a world obsessed with instant results, viral success, and overnight breakthroughs. Social media amplifies this pressure by constantly showing people's big moments, while hiding the years of quiet effort behind them. As a result, many people feel discouraged when their progress looks slow, small, or unimpressive. God's message here is clear. Small beginnings are not signs of failure. They are signs of process. The rebuilding of the temple in Zerubbabel's time seemed insignificant compared to the glory of Solomon's temple. Many people mocked it, yet God said He rejoiced over what looked small. That alone should radically reshape how we view our own little starts. The student just starting a course with no visible results yet, the entrepreneur with only 1 customer, the creator with only 20 followers, the believer who has just begun praying consistently or reading the Bible daily. These actions may look insignificant, but God sees trajectory, not just size. Small things are often the testing ground for faithfulness. They develop discipline, patience, humility, and consistency, qualities you cannot gain from instant success. If God handed most people big things too early, they would collapse under the weight of it. God is emotionally invested in our small efforts. He is not waiting for us to become impressive before He cares. He rejoices at sincere beginnings, awkward attempts, and imperfect progress. When your life feels unimpressive and slow, remember, God does not despise your small chapter. Neither should you. Luke 16 verse 10. Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much, and whoever is dishonest with very little will also be dishonest with much. Little things reveal your true character. Most people think integrity only matters when big money, big power, or big recognition is involved. But Jesus says the opposite. Your behavior in small matters predicts your behavior in big ones. This shows up in simple choices. Do you arrive on time even when nobody is monitoring you? Do you keep your word when it costs you convenience? Do you handle small responsibilities with care or laziness? Do you tell the truth when a small lie would be easier? These tiny decisions are spiritual tests. God watches how we treat very little because it shows whether we are ready for more. Many people pray for promotions, larger platforms, bigger income, and greater influence, yet they ignore the responsibilities already in their hands. They want much, but they despise little. According to this verse, that mindset blocks growth. This principle applies to relationships too. How you treat people who cannot benefit you says more about you than how you treat important people. How you handle your smallest commitments shows how you'll handle your biggest ones. God often withholds greater opportunities, not as punishment, but as protection. If we misuse small authority, small money, or small influence, giving us more would only multiply our mistakes. Greatness is not built by dramatic moments, but by consistent faithfulness in ordinary ones. If you want God to trust you with bigger things, start treating small things as sacred assignments. Matthew 13 verses 31 to 32. The kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed, which a man took and planted in his field. Though it is the smallest of all seeds, yet when it grows, it is the largest of garden plants and becomes a tree. Small seeds can produce massive outcomes. The mustard seed is almost invisible in the hand, yet it grows into something surprisingly large. This challenges a belief that impact requires a dramatic beginning. God loves to start with tiny, humble inputs and produce extraordinary results. Your mustard seed might be one decision to stop procrastinating, one honest conversation, one daily habit, one kind act, one creative idea, one prayer, one application sent. These seem insignificant in isolation, but when planted consistently, they multiply beyond your expectations. Seeds don't grow overnight. Many people quit because they don't see results fast enough. But spiritual and personal growth happens underground before it becomes visible. It also teaches humility. God deliberately uses small beginnings so that no one can take credit for the outcome. When success finally comes, it's clear that God, not human brilliance, produced it. Do not underestimate your current stage. the idea you have today, the skill you're learning today, the habit you're forming today may one day become the very thing that changes your life. Your job is not to produce the tree. Your job is to plant the seed and stay faithful. Proverbs 16, verse 3. Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and He will establish your plans. Most people only pray about big decisions, marriage, career moves, major investments. But God invites us to involve Him in everyday plans. When you commit small tasks to God, your study routine, your business idea, your work ethic, your relationships, you align your life with divine guidance. Direction matters more than speed. You can be busy yet misaligned. When God establishes your plans, He corrects your path early, not after you've wasted years. Committing small things builds spiritual awareness. It trains you to depend on God daily, rather than only in emergencies. This also reduces anxiety. When you place your plans in God's hands, you're no longer carrying the pressure alone. You still work hard, but you trust God with the outcome. Everyday example. Before sending a message, making a post, signing a contract, starting a project, pause and commit it to God. Small spiritual disciplines shape large life outcomes. Song of Songs 2, verse 15. Catch for us the foxes, the little foxes that ruin the vineyards, our vineyard that are in bloom. Destruction often begins quietly. The vineyard is already in bloom, meaning something good, promising, and valuable is growing. The danger is not obvious enemies or dramatic disasters, but little foxes, small, seemingly harmless issues that slip in unnoticed and gradually cause damage. Many people assume that only major mistakes can ruin good things. However, relationships, careers, reputations, spiritual growth, and personal peace are more often damaged by neglected minor issues than by sudden crises. For example, in relationships, it is rarely one big argument that causes separation. It is unresolved resentment, repeated dismissive comments, poor listening habits, or unspoken expectations. Each issue feels small on its own, but together they weaken trust and emotional safety. By the time the damage becomes visible, the vineyard has already been harmed. Little foxes may appear as procrastination, inconsistency, negative self-talk, or small compromises with discipline. Missing one workout, skipping one study session, or postponing one important task feels insignificant. But repeated over time, these habits silently erode progress. Spiritually, little foxes may be distractions, complacency, or gradual loss of sensitivity to right and wrong. Faith does not usually collapse suddenly. It fades slowly when small warnings are ignored. Protecting what is valuable requires paying attention to details, addressing issues early, and refusing to normalize what is unhealthy simply because it is small. Growth alone is not enough. Maintenance matters. If you want to preserve what God is building in your life, you must identify and confront the little things that threaten it before they become irreversible. Ecclesiastes 10, verse 1. As dead flies give perfume a bad smell, so a little folly outweighs wisdom and honor. Small foolish actions can overshadow a lifetime of wisdom. Perfume is carefully crafted, valuable, and pleasant, yet a single dead fly is enough to ruin it completely. In the same way, one careless decision can damage a reputation built over years. Society often remembers mistakes more vividly than consistency. A person may be known for excellence, integrity, and discipline, yet one moment of poor judgment can become a defining story others tell about them. This is especially relevant in the modern world, where actions are recorded, shared, and archived. A careless message, inappropriate joke, dishonest act, or impulsive decision can spread quickly and permanently. Even when forgiven, consequences may linger. The verse does not suggest that wisdom is fragile, but that foolishness carries disproportionate weight. Wisdom builds slowly. Folly damages quickly. This teaches restraint and thoughtfulness, especially in moments of emotion, pressure, or pride. It also warns against overconfidence. People often fall not because they lack wisdom, but because they believe they're immune to mistakes. This false sense of security makes them careless with words, boundaries, and decisions. In leadership, business, ministry, or family life, this verse underscores the importance of consistency between character and conduct. Authority and respect are sustained not only by what you know, but by how you behave when it matters. Wisdom must be guarded daily. Honor must be protected intentionally. A single small act does not erase your value, but it can distort how your value is perceived. Galatians 6 verse 9. Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. There is a long-term power while persisting in small, repeated actions. Doing good is often quiet, unnoticed, and unrewarded in the short term. Because of this, discouragement becomes one of the greatest threats to consistency. People abandon good habits not because they are wrong, but because results take time. Studying daily feels pointless before exams arrive. Saving small amounts feels useless before wealth accumulates. Being kind feels unrewarded when appreciation is absent. Integrity feels costly when shortcuts seem profitable. Timing is not random. Harvest comes at the proper time, not the convenient time. There's a season of sowing where effort feels invisible, and a later season where results become undeniable. Quitting early guarantees no harvest at all. It does not say people stop doing good because they are evil, but because they become weary. Weariness comes from delayed gratification, repeated effort, and lack of visible progress. In work, this applies to consistently showing up, improving skills, and maintaining ethics even when advancement is slow. In relationships, it applies to patience, forgiveness, and effort even when change seems delayed. In personal development, it applies to discipline maintained long after motivation fades. Sustainable growth depends more on persistence than intensity. Those who succeed are often not the most talented, but the ones who refuse to stop. Doing good is never wasted. Even when unseen, it is accumulating. The promise of harvest is conditional not on perfection, but on perseverance. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe for more.